Hello and welcome back to Talkin' Giants, brought to you by SeatGeek. It is September 12th, 2025, and our New York Football Giants will be traveling down to Arlington, Texas to face the Dallas Cowboys this Sunday at 1 p.m. Glad it's not a 4 o'clock game, so they don't have to deal with that damn sunset. Why would you ever design a stadium that the sun literally shines directly on the field with glass, with the damn glass that they have? So I don't think they'll have to deal with that since they're not playing at 4, and a lot of Dallas games usually are played at 4, with national television and whatnot, but this is going to be at 1. Don't think they'll have to deal with that, and that's good. But the main story for the Giants this Sunday, I think it's pretty clear. How can you change the story? How are you going to punch back? Got excited this offseason that we thought that we were gathering a roster between the draft class last year, the draft class this year. Got excited that we were gathering a bunch of guys that when they get punched in the mouth, when they deal with adversity, that they're not going to like it and they're going to want to punch back. And I thought it was significant and noteworthy that the Fox broadcast literally starts their broadcast. They throw it down to the sideline reporter, and he's talking about how Brian Daboll is emphasizing, how are we going to deal with adversity this year? Well, they dealt with a great amount of adversity last week. They didn't punch back in that game, and now they're going to have an opportunity against a Cowboy team that is not the same. I understand the Giants struggled in week 1, and man, you can't sit there and say anything about any other team when the Giants have their struggles. I get it. But there's an opportunity this Sunday against a Dallas team that I think can be had. And this is the first time in a long time where I think you can look at a Cowboy roster and go, yeesh, man, that ain't that good. Now, they came out last Thursday and they fought. I didn't think they were going to cover that 8.5-point spread, especially after trading Micah Parsons just a couple days before, but they were ready to play. They played the Eagles tough. They played them well. They ran the ball a lot better than I thought. They played, their defense was better, was somewhat better than I thought. Their offense was a lot better than I thought. Dak Prescott showed up, came ready to play. But still, you look up and down that roster, compared to what they were doing 10, 5, even just 2-3 years ago, there used to be Pro Bowl, All-Pro, and even sometimes, at times, Hall of Fame level players on that roster. And that is not the case now. That is not the case. How can the Giants take advantage of that? How can their coaches scheme around some of their deficiencies? And I'm talking about the Cowboys' deficiencies, not the Giants' deficiencies. How can you identify, highlight it, and take advantage of it? There's an opportunity. There's an opportunity. But certainly there's not a lot of things on the Giants side, including the Cowboys have gone 14 straight seasons without starting 0-2. Let's make some history. In a bad way for the Cowboys and in a good way for the Giants, because I really don't want to... I will tell the joke on Sunday's reaction show. I will do my favorite 0-2 tradition of, did you know that the 2007 Giants started 0-2 and won the Super Bowl? I will do that because it is my favorite 0-2 tradition, but let's avoid that. So I don't even have to tell that dumb joke that everyone else is going to tell anyway. Let's talk about the Cowboys defense versus this Giants offense. Now, we can talk all we want about what the Cowboys do and who they got on their roster, but if the Giants cannot function as a run-blocking unit, they have no chance as an offense. 50% of the Giants' plays on offense last week were between 8 to 10 yards to go. You cannot win like that. You cannot win. The Giants' running backs' yards before contact per attempt stats from week 1. Here we go. Tyrone Tracy, 0.9 yards before contact per attempt. He had 10 attempts. Devin Singletary on 3 attempts. 2.3 yards before contact per attempt. Cam Skattebo on 2 attempts, minus 1.5 yards before contact per attempt. Cam Skattebo, on average, was being contacted in the backfield on his 2 attempts. The Giants will not be able to accomplish anything offensively if the run game is this bad. I think something that they could do that's a little differently from last week, I actually think rushing outside the tackles, or at least going towards the B gap, C gap, and running towards the tackles, I think that could be a good strategy, specifically with Tyrone Tracy. I think Devin Singletary and Cam Skattebo could still be more straightforward, and you can run your man, you can run your duo. But with Tyrone Tracy challenging the edge rushers that lost Micah Parsons and a group of edge rushers that aren't that good. I even think, they are a step down from even what the Commanders have, and especially even putting linebackers in conflict. I think that allows Tyrone Tracy to do something that he's very, very good at, which is set up and almost lull defenders to death, lull them to sleep. Tyrone Tracy going outside the tackles and maybe even spending a little bit of extra time behind the line of scrimmage. It allows a play to set up. It allows linebackers to flow in a good spot where then Tyrone Tracy can plant his foot in the ground and then cut upfield and possibly get some big runs. That's a lot of his big runs that he had last year, like in Seattle, kind of lulls him to death, makes that boom, that one cut, cuts it upfield. Even against the Jets in the preseason game, he had one of those runs that was really positive and that was good. It's almost like Tyrone Tracy's trump card and like what he's good at. And I think a way to try and get more of a diverse run game going for the Giants is doing that. You're going to have Devin Singletary and Cam Scadaboo. They could be tough and they can be gritty going between the tackles, but I think to get some sort of diversity in here, you have to challenge those edge rushers that I don't think are very good. Challenge them to set a good edge, and especially challenge Kenneth Murray, who is not a very good linebacker. Challenging him and putting him in conflict, I think, is the way to go. Now, the Cowboys' defensive line, it's a step down from what we've known. Kind of like I said at the start, like this Cowboy roster is not the same. Now, Kenny Clark is the best run defender they have. And like I was just talking about with the Cowboy linebackers with Kenneth Murray, they're not as good as what they were either. I really hope Dable and Kafka are finding ways to take advantage of the weaknesses that the Cowboy defense has. Kenneth Murray, when he is on the field, both in the run game and the pass game, should be targeted. Now, Jack Sanborn is good. Jack Sanborn is their main linebacker. He's coming from Chicago with Matt Eberflus. He's a good player. He's a really good run defender. But Kenneth Murray is a player who time and time again I think could be taken advantage of. How could you put Murray in conflict? And that question should go for a number of players on this defense. There are players like Deron Bland, who is out at the nickel spot. How are you going to take advantage of that? Kaiir Elam has been a player that's been casted away in the NFL. That's a player that should be taken advantage of. Take, for example, last week against the Commanders. What did the Commanders do early in the game against the Giants? And they did a great job of it. They took advantage of the Giants' key weak areas. Darius Moasow. Micah McFadden goes down. Zach Ertz runs an angle route. Darius Moasow in coverage, not good. Allows a touchdown. Cordell Flott. Targeted early in the game. Allows a 40-yard play on the sideline. They were going after him. I want to watch a football game and be like, man, my coaches, Brian Dable, Mike Kafka, we're scheming around to attack deficiencies, is what Kyle Shanahan does very well. That's what I want to watch the game this Sunday and go. Man, they're doing a good job of attacking what the weaknesses of the Cowboy defense, because I think they can be had in certain areas. Let's talk about the pass game. They're going to play a lot of cover 3, the Cowboys are. They played 42% of their week 1 snaps were in cover 3, and that's something that Matt Eberflus is kind of known for anyway. I think they're going to want to take away the sidelines, and they're going to want to take away Russell Wilson throwing the moon ball, right? The Cowboys played zone coverage on every snap against the Eagles last week. I don't think they're going to play zone coverage every snap against the Giants. I honestly think, even if they start to play a little bit more cover 1 and they start to play more man coverage because they're not afraid of the Giants doing anything crazy or special, like you kind of have to account for the Eagles, right? But I still think mostly they're going to play zone coverage. They're going to play cover 3. They're going to try and take away the sidelines, which Russell Wilson is known for attacking. But the Cowboys defense, after not blitzing Jalen Hurts at all during the first half, they did blitz him more in the second half, and the unit had more success. I think they're going to try and continue that trend of being aggressive and blitzing the Giants and blitzing Russell Wilson, who is not good under pressure, and the Giants' offensive line struggled as a whole. The Giants are going to be forced to make plays, and especially Russell Wilson is going to be forced to get rid of the ball fast. If they're blitzing out of cover 3, that's going to be tough for the Giants, because I think Russ is going to want to try and look towards the sideline to get a quick release, snap and release, and that may not be available, and that may not be there. So ideally, if they're blitzing, and if they're playing cover 3, that opens up the quick and the short game. But Russell Wilson isn't really good at operating that. Now, that could also operate crossers going over the middle of the field, which Brian Dable likes to run. Has always liked to run it, even going back to Buffalo. Crossers over the middle of the field. Malik Neighbors. I think there are 3 guys on this team. Malik Neighbors, Wan'Dale Robinson, and even Darius Slayton. If you put them on crossers over the middle of the field, they get any kind of separation. There's yak opportunity. I think that could be a positive thing that the Giants could go to. Routes up the seam. Theo Johnson. Where are you? We'll talk about that in a second. And also flood concepts as well against cover 3. Could work. Now, Deron Bland going down in the nickel. This is a game where I think Darius Slayton and Theo Johnson need to show up. And coaches can't be afraid. Dable and Kafka cannot be afraid to scheme things up specifically for them. Do not be so Malik Neighbors and Wan'Dale Robinson dependent. Let's talk about 2 next-gen stats. Giants wide receiver Darius Slayton was the NFL Week 1 cardio king, according to Next Gen Stats, who Darius Slayton ran a total of 1,081 yards from snap to whistle. Against the Commanders, he failed to haul in his lone target, finishing the day with 0 fantasy points. Slayton had 38 routes, led the Giants in total routes, eclipsing Malik Neighbors' 37. Now, Malik Neighbors recorded 13 targets in Week 1, marking his 11th career game with 10 or more targets. This is the key part. The Giants wide receiver has reached 10-plus targets in 68.8% of his career games, the highest rate of any NFL player since 1991. This is not me sitting here saying, oh, you can't throw the ball to Malik Neighbors as much. Oh, you can't do it. But that's the over-reliance. And my tagline for Malik Neighbors and Wan'Dale Robinson this year is quality, not quantity. It's not about how many targets Malik Neighbors gets. It's the quality of those targets. Are we getting big plays? Are we giving Malik Neighbors opportunities for yak? Or are we simply just throwing him the ball and throwing Wan'Dale Robinson the ball because there's no other damn choice and there's no other damn option? Because we can't think of doing anything else. Malik Neighbors is starting to be bracketed and doubled. Everybody knows that he's the dude on this offense. Everybody knows that he's the man, and he is the man. And he still can win, even when things are difficult. You saw the catches that he made last week. He's the man. He's the dude. He's going to be good. I'm not worried about him. I'm worried about what are you doing around Malik Neighbors to try and, number one, help get him open, but also, number two, there's sometimes where you can't do anything. If teams are bracketing guys and if teams are doubling guys, sometimes you just can't do anything. So what are you doing to get other people efficient, good opportunities, quality opportunities? Where is Theo Johnson? And if the answer is he's not reliable because he's dropping the ball and he does, concentration catches, he has concentration drops. If that's the answer, then Daniel Bellinger it is. Darius Slayton, I can't sit here and say I understand his week 1 separation numbers weren't good. I don't think Darius Slayton's a bad wide receiver. I don't think he's a slouch. So the answer, if Malik Neighbors isn't open, shouldn't just be Wan'Dale Robinson going for 7 yards per reception. That's a bad answer. And I think it's being shown time and time again that teams are very willing to let that happen. Yeah, we'll give you Wan'Dale for 7 yards per reception. We'll give you that. If it's 3rd and 10, I don't care. If it's 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9, I don't care. I don't care about 7 yards per reception. I don't care about the checkdowns. And also, but throw the ball Wan'Dale down the field more. That just gets so tough when he is so small, and the catch probability for him is so low when you target him deeper down the field because of how damn small he is. So I don't know, man. There has to be more answers. It starts with the run game. It starts with that offensive line allowing their running backs to get more yards before contact. It starts with that work on early downs. And then also, how are you going to build in answers in this offense that isn't Malik Neighbors and Wan'Dale Robinson? Where's Theo Johnson? Where is Darius Slayton? Those are the main priorities for the offense this weekend. And no, I do not expect Andrew Thomas to play. And how are you going to deal with the blitz? How are you going to deal with pressure? I think Dallas is going to try and bring it. I think they're going to try and organically create it themselves. I don't think they obviously don't have the same pass rushers that they did even just a couple weeks ago. They're still going to try and create pressure because I think they know that Russell Wilson will not be good under pressure and the offensive line is compromised. How are you going to make them pay for that? How are you going to make them pay? crossers over the middle of the field if they're playing cover 3, or make them pay if they start to play man coverage like they tried to do towards the second half against the Commanders. If they start to play man coverage and they give you the sideline, they give Malik Neighbors, they give Darius Slayton a 1v1 matchup, take it. Take the go ball on the sideline. Take the slot fade. And also, stop playing Wan'Dale. I hate that I'm shitting on Wan'Dale Robinson so much, but he's kind of frustrating. If you're running out of 12 personnel, stop putting Wan'Dale Robinson as an outside receiver. Stop putting Wan'Dale Robinson in as the tight when you're playing a tight 11 personnel. Stop putting Wan'Dale Robinson in as a lead blocker in the run game. Can you throw out of 12 personnel? Can you throw out of a condensed running formation where typically teams are going to be stacking the box and thinking that you're going to run the ball? Can you throw out of that formation and start to give an advantage for yourself? These are things that I think the Giants should be able to do to create success for themselves on the offensive side of the ball. And again, I don't think Andrew Thomas is going to play. It's the same trajectory, I think, as last week, where he practices one day, he's off the next, and unless Friday provides some sort of shot of optimism in terms of his status, I don't think he's going to play. But the pass rush of Dallas and the line of Dallas isn't as good as the Commanders, so the line should show up more. The line should be better. It has to be better if they have any chance of operating on offense this year. And I don't even mean to be the same old Giants fan that bitches about the line. It was just that bad. It was just that bad week 1, especially as a rub blocking unit. All right, before we talk about the Giants' defense against the Cowboys' offense, I'm going to talk to you about DraftKings, because this episode is sponsored by DraftKings. Your season, your shot. The NFL season is rolling, and every touchdown could bring you closer to a payout with our partners, the DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. New customers, this one is for you. Bet just $5, get $200 in bonus bets instantly, plus score over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use code JMFootball, that's code JMFootball, to get $200 off in bonus bets instantly when you place your first $5 bet, plus over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Yeah, so this Giants defense against the Cowboys offense. Now, the Cowboys are dangerous, but I overall think it should be easier than what the Commanders had to offer you. And it starts with Dak Prescott, who is not as mobile as Jaden Daniels, obviously. I think it's just less that you have to account for, which is a good thing. You won't need a QB spy. I think you could play a more conventional defense. But what's going to come down to it for this game is, number one, how are you going to put Dak Prescott on the ground? Did have a pretty long time to throw this past weekend, which I think will be quicker once he faces the Giants. But how are you going to stop CeeDee Lamb, and how are you going to stop George Pickens? George Pickens last year when he played the Giants on the Steelers, he had 4 catches for 74 yards, and I think there was also a near touchdown that wound up being incomplete as well that really kind of bailed out Deonte Banks there. The Steelers game last year was the kind of the start of the we're going to bench Deonte Banks movement, and where people were really fed up with some bad really effort plays on him, and that was George Pickens. So odds are it'll be Cordell Flott, and then Deonte Banks only got 11 snaps. Is that going to change? Probably not. CeeDee Lamb in his career against the Giants, in 10 games, he has 61 catches, 859 yards, 4 touchdowns, and a 69% catch rate. You want that on a 17-game pace? Well, it's really good for him, and it's bad for the Giants. 104 catches, 1,460 yards, 6.8 touchdowns on a 17-game pace. That's even worse, or better, but then Terry McLaurin's 17-game pace, and that was even really good last week too. CeeDee Lamb is 9-1 in his career against the Giants. I believe the only game that he lost was the 2020 Week 17 game. I thought Dak played really well and really good against a good defense last week. There were some key drops by CeeDee Lamb late in that game that impacted Dak Prescott's numbers. I think he would have had well over 200 yards if guys don't drop the ball on him, but drops are part of the game too, right? Hopefully CeeDee Lamb has a drop issue now, and hopefully that's part of his game. Dak will not be afraid to force balls into tight windows, so I think Giant safeties, Tyler Nubin, Javon Holland, and corners, Paulson Adebo, Cordell Flott, especially Drew Phillips, man. Drew Phillips has to be ready to make plays on the football and deliver hits as receivers catch footballs. There were a couple, I'm trying to retire the phrase hospital ball from my vocabulary, since they're like NFL like film like NFL analysts that like don't like the term hospital ball. But I'm trying, like, people know what I'm talking about when I say that. But Dak Prescott, I remember last week throwing the ball in some tight windows to Jake Ferguson, and he took some big hits, and it didn't wind up as incompletion. So Dak Prescott's not afraid to rip it. Got to be able to make plays on the football, and then if you don't make a play on the football, got to be able to deliver some hits on these receivers and make them think twice about are you going to really go up and catch those balls and then, not protect yourself. The Giants played cover 1 50% of the time last week. They played man coverage. It was kind of a boring and bland defense. Man, and when you get if you get this Cowboy team in the second along, reward yourself, man. Reward yourself. Get off the damn field. The Giants, I think, on first down and third down were top 10 in EPA per play, and this is how you know I'm reaching. But I was just so curious by this. They were a top 10 defense on first down and third down against the Commanders, and they were the 31st ranked team in EPA per play on second down. Reward yourself. It was the craziest thing. I think we saw the worst performance on second down ever in a Giants game last week. If you stop the run on first down, which even the Cowboys, like, they did a good job running the ball last week. Javonte Williams and Miles Sanders had a 40-something yard run. But these running backs are not fast, man. They're slow. Like, the fact that Zach Baun caught Miles Sanders is hilarious. Hilarious. These running backs are not fast, but they did run the ball a lot better than I thought that they would, especially against a stout Eagles defense that was stout last year and good against the run. So I don't know, man. Like, reward yourself. Reward yourself when you make a good negative play. Because you got to get these teams in the second along and third along if you want to have success and have this pass rush pin their ears back, right? Reward yourself. Don't play so passive on second. If you get a Cowboys defense like you did against Commanders on a consistent basis into a 2nd and 10 and plus, don't just give them a shit ton of cushion and then it turns into a 3rd and 5, a 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6 when a team faces a 2nd and 15. That's a win. That's a win for the offense. It's not a loss. So, what are the ramifications of Micah McFadden getting hurt? Well, according to Shane Bowen, that may mean that Abdul Carter they're considering putting him more at off-ball linebacker. Now, I think we saw that quote that the beat put out, and coordinators speak on Thursdays and Fridays, right? So, we saw that quote, and I think we maybe ran with it a little bit. I think, hearing what Shane Bowen has to say fully probably will lower the temperature a little bit. But the initial lean of putting Abdul Carter at off-ball linebacker more, like, the initial feeling isn't great. But here are the positives of it, right? And here's how we can sift through this situation. If it means him getting on the field more, it's a win and it's a positive. Abdul Carter played less snaps in the second half than he did in the first half. If it means getting Abdul Carter on the field more, it's a win. I think Abdul Carter is one of the best players on the defense already. So if it means getting him on the field more, that's great. And I also think it's all in how you roll it out and what you're going to ask Abdul Carter to do and when. If you're going to be asking Abdul Carter to drop back in coverage on third down as an off-ball linebacker, that sucks. Because you're taking away what could be a strength of this defense and allowing him to go after the quarterback on a third down and dropping him back in coverage. That sucks. I'd rather put Dane Belton in the box and ask him to play man coverage on a tight end on third down. That's what I would rather have than putting Abdul Carter back there in coverage. If he's out there to stop the run and if you feel like Abdul Carter could stop the run on early downs, okay, sure. And you want to put Chauncey Golston out there as an edge rusher and maybe go heavy and put 3 defensive linemen out there, okay, if you feel like he's that much better than Darius Moasow, then okay, great, cool. But if you're asking him to drop back in coverage and, I don't know, it just, common sense, man. Abdul Carter should be going after the quarterback. He should be lining up in multiple variations in multiple ways, but if you're going to be asking Abdul Carter to play off-ball linebacker, that takes away from what he does best and what this Giants defense could do best, I think that's a waste. I made a meme today of, how Patrick Starr, this is, I'm sure for us older crowd, you don't really care, but, I grew up with SpongeBob. Patrick Starr says, let's take Bikini Bottom and put him over there. So I thought of the whole, let's take our best player and put him somewhere else to cover up our lack of depth and poor planning. Because the Giants linebacker situation is not good. Even with Micah McFadden, it wasn't good. So now you're taking him out. And I really hope Bobby Okereke has a better game. I really hope he does. But if this means getting Abdul Carter on the field more, then I'll have to say, yeah, it's a win. Because him playing 40% of the second half snaps, that's not great. That's not ideal. Let's get him on the field more. But use him right and have common sense. All right, I'm going to talk to you about Nike because I want to give a quick shout out to Nike. We have an awesome new partnership with them. So go check out our affiliate link in the description below to shop some amazing Nike gear. Kind of cool. They're even allowing me to pick some stuff off the affiliate store. I'm going to pick some nice Giants gear. And I'm going to wear it because Nike is kind of sponsoring us this year, and that's really cool. So check out that affiliate link that's in our description. All right, so I did a touchdown draft last week, and I'm doing it with Danny Behan. Danny Behan's a really cool dude. He's been a listener to this show for years, and he's one of my good friends. So Danny Behan and I are doing a touchdown draft. Hopefully, maybe we'll get to add somebody else to the mix soon. But Danny Behan last week for the touchdown draft, we both went 1 for 3. He drafted Tyron Tracy, Deebo Samuel, and Darius Slayton. I drafted Malik Neighbors, Zach Ertz, and Cam Scatterbo. So if you're not familiar with the touchdown draft, if you weren't listening last week, Danny Behan and I am going to draft a team of 3 that I think is going to score a touchdown, and then I am going to get points if my guy scores a touchdown. So last week, I landed Zach Ertz. Zach Ertz was plus 200 scoring a touchdown. I get 200 points. Danny Behan, he chose Deebo Samuel to score a touchdown. He was right. So he has 195 points. Let the record show, if your player that you drafted gets 2 touchdowns or 3 touchdowns, you'll get whatever their odds are times 2 times 3, the amount of touchdowns that they score. I'm adding a rule to the touchdown draft. If I draft one of the top 3 guys with the best odds, I cannot take another player in the top 3, and I can only take one of the players with the 4th or the 5th best odds. The odds of players for the touchdown draft are on the screen for the YouTube crowd, and I'm looking at the DraftKings Sportsbook. So this week with my first pick for the touchdown draft, I'm going to draft Javonte Williams, who's plus 115, and he has the 2nd best odds to score a touchdown. And I'm doing that because I don't mind going outside the top 5 this week. Cowboys ran the ball well last week with Javonte Williams. He got a ton of the volume, got most of the volume. No Jaden Blue, not a lot of Jaden Blue. I don't even think Jaden Blue got the ball at all. Miles Sanders, of course, got that big run, but Javonte Williams is that clear starter in this offense. I think CeeDee Lamb is a good choice too, but I just think Javonte Williams has a better shot at getting a rushing touchdown. I think the Giants are going to be giving a lot of attention to Malik Neighbors inside the red zone, to CeeDee Lamb inside the red zone, so Javonte Williams is my first pick. Hear me out. You're going to call me nuts. You're going to call me fucking crazy. I'm also drafting Wan'Dale Robinson at plus 360. All right, I'm putting a pin in that because I'm editing the show, and as I'm editing the show, not only do I see that the Giants have signed wide receiver Xavier Gipson from the Jets, return man / slot wide receiver, I'm also seeing that apparently Wan'Dale Robinson has a fucking injury that he suffered during the kickoff, the one kick return that he had last week, because lo and behold, Brian Daboll can't stop putting players that the team kind of needs. And I'm saying why Wan'Dale Robinson, I think he is a replaceable player, but there's no other backup slot wide receiver on the team, so you want to know what? Yeah, Wan'Dale Robinson is kind of important, unless you want to put Malik Neighbors full-time in the slot, and then hello, Jalen Hyatt, who played 0 snaps last week. I guess now you're a starting wide receiver, since we need Darius Slayton and Malik Neighbors to be slot wide receivers, since we don't have a slot wide receiver. But Xavier Gipson, I guess, is going to serve that role. Not only that, he is a kick returner. He's kind of a pretty good kick returner, but he has a fumbling problem. That is what he does. I believe he has like 10 fumbles over the last couple years. Let's check it. Fumbles. 5, 4, and then 1 last year. 5 in 2023, 4 in 2024, and then 1 he had last week against the Steelers that kind of low-key costed the Jets the game. I think the previous regime really liked him. I think even Jets fans liked him throughout 2023, where he caught 21 balls as like a receiver. Like, oh, they should use him more. They should use him more. But no, the Jets didn't really use him at all as a wide receiver last year. He only caught 6 balls, 10 targets, played all 17 games. But he's a return man. He's a special teams guy. He's going to be a punt returner. He's going to be a kick returner. I think he's a pretty decent one, but he fumbles the ball a lot, and that is an issue for him. So he's the backup slot receiver. Is he going to be activated? Is he signed to the active roster because the Giants claimed him through waivers? Is Wan'Dale Robinson hurt? I wanted to just at least include this in the preview pod as I draft Wan'Dale Robinson for my touchdown draft. And I'm not going to change it. I think he's going to play. Hope he plays. Hope Xavier Gipson isn't now. Brian Dable obsessed with the whole, I have to put significant fragile players as kick returners and punt returners. Okay. I am big game hunting. I think the Giants are going to try and get creative and score in different ways, and you would never think that Wan'Dale Robinson would get it, but that's exactly why he's going to get the touchdown this weekend. I'm big game hunting. And last pick of my touchdown draft, give me Kevontae Turpin at plus 450. Cowboys put him in motion a ton last week. A ton. I think that'll be a really good tell for Dak Prescott pre-snap in terms of if the Giants are playing in cover 1 like they did 50% of the time last week, if they're playing in man coverage, or are they playing in zone. So I think that'll be a really good indicator. If they're going to put Kevontae Turpin in motion a ton, it'll be a nice pre-snap hint for Dak Prescott what coverage the Giants are playing in. And I think he can even walk right in for one, because I do think the Giants are going to be trying to account for CeeDee Lamb as much as possible inside the red zone. So if you put Kevontae Turpin in motion at the snap, if they're running out of, like, let's say a shotgun out of 11, even if they're close to the goal line, Turpin goes in motion at the snap. Maybe Drew Phillips is he's picked off. He gets caught in traffic in a pick play, and Kevontae Turpin walks right in, plus 450. Big game hunting this week. So those are my 3 picks: Javonte Williams, Wan'Dale Robinson, Kevontae Turpin. I'll text Danny Behan when this episode comes out, and you'll hear his picks next week, and you'll see how we do. Right now, we're neck and neck. Plus 200 for me with Zach Ertz last week, and plus 195 for Danny Behan. Hopefully the Giants score a touchdown, so it can make this touchdown draft more interesting. All right, now spread picks. Yes, I'm still doing spread picks. Last week, I went 7-9 with the Giants, and I went 7-8 without the Giants. We're doing every game. 7-8's not too bad. And I'm usually pretty bad with spread picks. So let's do them this week. Commanders at Packers. This is the Thursday night game. Really excited for Thursday night. Also, I really do suggest watching the Prime Vision broadcast. If you'd like being at a game and seeing everything at the game, if you like watching coaches film and go coaches tape, like I get frustrated when I watch a conventional broadcast and you don't see the safeties. And that's like where, when the ball is snapped, quarterbacks are looking, where are the safeties? Like that's the first thing that they're looking at the snap. It's the first thing that they're looking at when they get up to the line. Is they're looking at the safeties, and then they're working their way down to the line, right? Single high, double, single high, 2 higher. They're going to play cover 3, cover 2, cover 1. So that's what they're looking at. And the Prime Vision broadcast on Next Gen gives you a really good opportunity to see the full game. And my guy Sam Schwartzstein, too. I'm good friends with him. He does a really good job, too, presenting some really helpful stats. And I like seeing the player tracking data, and there's the darts and the lines. I forget what the fuck it's called, but you know what I mean. Check it out. It's a really good broadcast. I think it's the best broadcast in football right now. I really do. Commanders at Packers, Thursday Night Football. It's first game on Prime. I think the Commanders are going to cover. I love the Packers. Damn, man, I think the Packers are going to win the NFC. Was saying that even before they made the trade for Micah Parsons, but the Commanders were sloppy last week against the Giants. I think they can come out and play a cleaner game. And, I mean, even if they lose, they can lose by 3 and they cover. I think the Commanders are good. I think the Packers are really good too. But I think the Commanders can cover this. So Commanders plus 3.5. I'm going to feel really bad if that doesn't hit because I love the Packers. I also don't like the Commanders. Is this the biggest spread of the week? Because, man, Browns at Ravens. Ravens minus 11.5. I think the Browns cover. I think the Browns cover. They still have Joe Flacco, quarterback. They played the Bengals tough last week, 1-point game. I think the Browns cover the 11.5-point spread. Browns plus 11.5. Jags at Bengals. Bengals minus 3.5. I'm going to Bengals minus 3.5. I was wrong on them last week. Let me be right this week. They really got to find a way to function better in September. The fact that they only beat the Browns last week by 1 point is really bad. But I still, that Jaguars passing offense, not good, man. Not good signs, even though they won last week, but still just not very good signs. Give me the Bengals minus 3.5. I'm including the Giants. Giants at Cowboys. Cowboys minus 4.5. I felt like this was bigger. Give me the Cowboys minus 4.5. I want the Giants to win. My fan prediction at the end may be different, but my heart prediction may be different, but my brain says Cowboys minus 4.5. Bears at Lions. Lions minus 6. I think the Lions bounce back and they cover this. The Bears, Caleb Williams does not look good. Just missing simple and easy throws. I know there was a good start. I think Ben Johnson can only do so much. I think Caleb may be not shot because he wasn't really that good in the NFL to really begin with, but it's so crazy that I thought that this guy was too talented to fail, and dude, it's just not good. I think he's too cocky for his own good. I think he thinks he's too damn good, and the NFL is hard. It's really hard. Lions win, and they win by more than 6. They cover. Patriots at Dolphins. Dolphins are home favorites, minus 1.5. I'm going the Pats. I'm going the Pats at plus 1.5. Dolphins, I know they're going back home, but they were playing in a dome to begin with against Indianapolis week 1. I think Mike McDaniels could be fired by the middle of the season. So give me the Pats plus 1.5. 49ers at Saints. Oh, the 49ers. Man, this is going to be a barn burner. Brock Purdy out for a couple weeks. I'm still going 49ers minus 3. I just think they can even just run the ball. Run the ball, and Kyle Shanahan will find a way with Mac Jones. Spencer Rattler is still a quarterback, so give me 49ers minus 3. Bills at Jets. Bills are road favorites, 6.5 points. I think the Jets are going to cover. I think they're going to run the ball well, and the Bills defense, I think they have a run defense problem. They've had a run defense problem over the last couple years, so I think the Jets cover this 6.5 point spread. I'm even on upset watch for this one. Seahawks at Steelers. Steelers are are home favorites, minus 3. Why am I messing this up? I'm going to go Steelers minus 3. Steelers looked really good against the Jets last week. I don't think Aaron Rodgers benefited from a lot of yak, benefited off of a lot of play action, but hey, you take it, man. I think Steelers even show up a little bit better defensively. Give me Steelers minus 3. Rams at Titans. Rams are 5.5 point road favorites. Man, Cam Ward made some really nice throws last week. It doesn't show up in the box score, doesn't show up in the stats, but man, he made some really nice throws and close to having a really, really good debut. With that being said, I think I'm going to go Rams minus 5.5. I think they cover this. Matthew Stafford looked really good. Back injury be damned. Panthers at Cardinals. Cardinals are 7-point home favorites. Man, Cardinals have a really, really beneficial schedule to start the year, right? I think the Panthers cover. They bit me in the ass. It bit me in the ass last week. I think they can cover this. They should cover against the Cardinals. This is year 2 of Dave Canales. Bryce Young looking a little bit better. Let's cover this 7-point spread. Broncos at Colts. I gave you a lock of the week last week with the Dolphins, and I was wrong. This is, I would say, my lock of the week. Broncos minus 1.5. I'm really dissing the Colts 2 weeks in a row. I think the Broncos are too good, though. Even if they win by, if they win by 3, they cover this, and I think they're going to win. Broncos minus 1.5. Defense is too good. I think this Broncos defense is going to challenge Daniel Jones a lot more than that Dolphins defense did. Eagles-Chiefs, Super Bowl rematch. Eagles are 1.5 point road favorites. I'm picking the Chiefs to cover. They're not going 0-2. They're not starting 0-2. They're going to find a way, even though there were parts of that team did not look very good last week against the Chargers, but there were parts of the Eagles that didn't look very good either. Chiefs are going to win at home. And then we have Sunday night, Falcons at Vikings. Vikings are 3.5-point home favorites. I'm taking the Vikings. I just don't believe in the Falcons this year. J.J. McCarthy found something in the second half. I think that defense can be had. Vikings, take it. They're 3.5-point home favorites. Vikings minus 3.5. 2 Monday night games. I kind of hate the 10 o'clock one because it's a good game and I want to watch it, but it's going to be hard for me to stay up. It's also going to be hard for most hashtag East Coast dads to stay up. Bucks at Texans. Bucks are covering, plus 2.5. Bucks are my team. I love Baker Mayfield. Bucks plus 2.5. And then Chargers at Raiders. Chargers are 3-point home favorites. I think the Raiders... Oh, do I think the Raiders win? No. Ooh. No, I think the Chargers cover and they win. So Chargers minus 3, even though I like the Raiders. All right. Giants score prediction. I said in my spread picks that the Cowboys would cover. So you would think in my Giants score prediction, I would choose the Cowboys to cover. And I think I'm going to do that. Cowboys 24, Giants 10. And it's a slug of a game, and there's a chance that maybe even the Giants get that touchdown at the end of the game. Here's to me being wrong. Here's to us celebrating a victory on Sunday. I'll be live on YouTube reacting to it all after the game at around probably 5 o'clock, 5:30, 6 o'clock, around there. Depends on if the Giants win and there's a lot to break down. I may have to do a little bit more prep, or is it going to be like last week where I can go live kind of right after the game because, damn it, it's frustrating, and what is there to talk about? So I'll see you Sunday for a reaction. Hopefully it's a damn win. Turn this damn season around. I don't want to wear this dumpster fire New York football shirt anymore. I want to put it away. I want to burn it. See you Sunday. Thanks for watching. Let's go Giants.